and thanks for joining Sound Off with System 1 today. We are here to discuss hot jobs and some of the best interview questions to ask a hiring manager during your first interview. The chances of finding your dream job by working with one of our experts vastly improves, so be sure to stay tuned for our expert tips. We'd like to know who's watching, so please be sure to drop us a comment and tell us where you're joining from and if this is your first time participating in one of our live events. Today's question of the day, we want to know what the worst interview question you've ever been asked. We also want to know your questions for our expert panel, so drop those in the comment section and we'll try to answer live or follow up with you if it's after the show has been completed. At System 1, we separate ourselves from the competition by specializing in delivering outsourced services and workforce solutions for highly technical, mission-critical needs. Our specialties include critical infrastructure, technology, life sciences, and government. And for over 40 years, we've leveraged our industry expertise to deliver these highly customizable solutions for our clients across multiple industries. System 1 operates in the US, Canada, and the United Kingdom. And we'd love to hear your comments and tell us how you're doing today and where you're joining from. We'd also love to know any questions you have for our panel, so drop those in the comment section. As you're telling us more about yourself, I'd like to introduce today's panel. I'll start with myself. My name is Ruth Bozeman. I'm the Engagement and Events Marketing Manager for System 1, and I've been in the marketing industry for over 20 years and spent the last 4 with System 1. I live in Clearwater, Florida, and since we're discussing interview questions today, and I'm asking you to share your worst interview question ever, let me share mine with you. I once had a hiring manager ask me to, quote, imagine you've been pulled over for speeding. How do you, Ruth, try to get out of the ticket? No joke. The question was a botched attempt at a behavioral interview question, and a better way to approach it would have been maybe to ask me to tell them about a time I had to push back on a manager who had asked me to do something I disagree with. Much better way to ask that same behavioral question. I'll continue to introduce our panel today. And let me start by introducing Charlie. Some of you have seen him in a couple of our previous broadcasts. Charlie joins us from our Joulé team out of the West Coast. Charlie, will you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and the opportunity you have to share today?
Awesome. Thanks, Ruth. My name's Charlie. Thanks for having me back again. I've been a healthcare recruiter for the past 3 years. Last year and a half at Joulé System 1, and just kind of made the jump into life sciences lately. So I currently live in San Diego. Fun fact about me is I played alto saxophone in high school.
Fun. Any other instruments you've played?
Actually, yeah. When I got to college, I played guitar and bass. But lately, I was reminded of this fun fact that I haven't played in a while. But hopefully, I can pick it up and pick up from where I left off.
Sweet. I know some of our audience maybe plays an instrument too. So if you play something, be sure to drop that in the comment section, and maybe that's a chance for you to connect with Charlie as well. Charlie, while we've got the attention turned to you, will you share with our audience the hot job you've got for this week?
Of course. So here at Joulé, we're seeking a senior consultant at an innovative life sciences consultant group located within the Biopharma space. This role is fully remote, headquartered out of Boston, and led by a group of entrepreneurs with 10 to 20 years of life science strategy experience. Here, they focus specifically on corporate, commercial, medical affairs, and digital strategy. The ideal candidate for this role would have an undergrad, MBA, or PhD with at least 2 years of consulting experience with a background in healthcare, medical device, or biopharma consulting. If you or anyone you know might be a great fit, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Great, Charlie. Thanks. That sounds like a fantastic role. Again, be sure to apply in the link provided in the comment section. and connect with Charlie. We also have a lot of other opportunities that might be similar or in a different location for you. So be sure to check out the career portal, jobs.system1.com. If you see something else you're interested in, drop that in the comment section so we can be sure to follow up with you. Again, make sure you're following Charlie, you connect with him, and are searching our career portal, jobs.system1.com. You can find all of these healthcare and clinical scientific opportunities through our Joulé brand. So we'll also drop that contact information in our comment section. Again, that's the Joulé brand of System 1. Next, we're going to go to Tony. Tony is also out of our Tampa office. Tony, will you share with our audience a little bit about yourself and then the opportunity you have to share today?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ruth. So happy to be here. As you mentioned, my name is Tony Webster. I work out of the Tampa St. Pete office here with System 1. I'm a business development manager. My team and I, we focus on the engineering and industrial recruiting for manufacturing and construction clients around the country. Fun fact about myself, I'm a diehard baseball fan. I actually had the opportunity to play baseball at St. Petersburg College and continue my education there. And I actually now live in the community. So after playing there, I ended up staying here, which is great. So very excited to continue my career here. I actually just hit 3 years with System 1 this month in June. So that's also exciting. So the position we're going to highlight today, we're working on a manufacturing engineering manager out of central Mississippi. Couple of the key points that they're looking for someone with 5 years of supervisor or management experience in a heavy industrial manufacturing environment. This client specifically works in the automotive industry, and they're looking for that doesn't specifically have to work in the automotive, just that heavy industrial manufacturing, and somebody that carries a bachelor's degree, somebody that has a background in continuous improvement, specifically in the practices of lean manufacturing, Six Sigma, similar to that, in addition to an electrical background, someone that might have surface mount technology or wire harness assembly is going to be a huge plus for this. But that's some of the main points for that manufacturing engineering role we have.
Great, Tony. Thanks. I just want to send a quick shout out to Alyssa, who's joined us from Texas. And if you're just joining us, be sure to drop us a comment. Let us know where you're joining from, maybe the industry you work in or where you're located. We're also wanting to know any horrible interview questions that you've encountered over the years as we continue our discussion on the best interview questions for you to ask as you're going through this process. So, hi, Alyssa. Thanks for joining us. Also want to send a quick shout out to Shannon from Michigan and Anna from Mississippi. Thanks for joining us. Again, we're spotlighting some hot jobs right now. Charlie offered up one from in the Boston area. Tony just talked about a position he's got available in Mississippi. And now we're going to let Maggie introduce herself and give you some details about a position she's got for you. And so I'll let her give you the details on that.
Perfect. Thanks, Ruth. Good to see y'all. My name is Maggie Marroquin. I'm the Director of Accounting and Finance here in Houston at System 1. I've been with the team 5+ years or so, been in recruiting about 11. Prior to that, I was in accounting for about 10. So obviously focus heavily in that accounting and finance space, entry level to executive. Fun fact about me, if you guys are not native Texans, I know they're starting to branch out in other states as well, but I am a huge Buc-ee's fan. So if you haven't been to Buc-ee's, you got to get there. It's amazing. Wawa does not hold the candle to Buc-ee's or Quick Trip. So let's not even have that argument. It's amazing. The job that I wanted to highlight today, we recently partnered with a high-end home builder in the Houston Galleria area on a bookkeeper search. So handling all the operational accounting, vendor customer management, cost reporting, coordinating bids, obtaining permits, doing some draws, helping support guys in the field as well as subcontractors. Just a really great opportunity to learn the business from the ground up. So if there's some folks out there, looking to get their real estate license and want to see what it looks like ground up, this is the opportunity for you. Would love to connect with you and talk about that role as well as your job search in general to see what we can get you in front of.
Great. Thanks, Maggie. Although I will disagree on the Buc-ee's Wawa thing. For those of you watching, of course, we're spotlighting hot jobs today, but we are constantly adding new opportunities, jobs.system1.com. And you'll also want to connect with all of these experts because they're your direct link to these great opportunities. So be sure to reach out, connect on LinkedIn. Make sure you're following System One, you're following Joulé. We'll get to Mountain here in just a second. This is our first time to have somebody from Mountain, so I'll get to that. But make sure you're connecting with everybody. Reach out, fill out that connect, follow link to our experts that we have here today. And speaking of Mountain, today we have Caleb joining us from Mountain. Again, this is the first time we've had an expert joining us from our Mountain team. So I'm going to let him introduce himself and then speak to a little bit about Mountain and then the opportunity he's got for you. So Caleb.
Well, hello. I'm calling in here from Maine. I've never had Buc-ee's or Wawa, so I guess I'm going to have to plan a trip to Texas so I can compare the two.
Yes.
So my name's Caleb Jordan. I'm a market manager with Mountain Limited. So I work closely with our recruiting teams and with our clients to help support our clients with whatever their needs may be. We are in the telecommunications space. So I'm sure you've heard a ton of activity going on with all of the fiber grants that have been really just released into the industry. We're keeping tabs on the rural development of fiber projects that are going on throughout the country. So it's really an exciting time to be in telecommunications. And I tell you, if you're looking for a position in this industry, it's there. There's so many awesome opportunities that I could go through. I wanted to just touch base on a outside plant field engineer role that we have in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. We need someone who has experience performing walkouts, someone who can review the site, identify the existing plant, and then also provide workups to identify utilities that previously weren't mentioned on any PDFs or any documents for the site. So we really need someone who is ingrained in the outside plant world, someone who has completed site walks before in the past, understands the needs of these clients, and is ultimately able to hand off a solid product back to our client and ensure that all the utilities are properly marked. Now, in telecommunications, not only are there field engineer roles, but really from folks that are in all walks of their careers. If you're looking to branch into something entry level, there are great opportunities for engineering assistants or inspectors or technicians. So reach out. I'd love to chat with you about what we have available in your area. And I may have skipped over my fun fact. Charlie, you mentioned that you played an instrument. Mm-hmm. I also play the trumpet. And my fun fact is my senior year of high school, all of our low brass had graduated and moved on. So we had no tubas, no trombones. I had to learn an instrument called the mellophone so I could play a solo in Stairway to Heaven. So that was the highlight of my senior year.
Sweet. Awesome song, by the way. Let us know if you played an instrument, maybe. That would be a great thing to comment. Let us know what instrument you played if you're still on or just joining us. Of course, we want to know where you're joining from. And want to say a quick shout out to Jill, who's joining from Colorado, Tim from Alabama. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Anna says that Maggie is more than that she loves Buc-ee's too. So
we should start a poll on that. Buc-ee's, Wawa, Quick Trip.
That'll be maybe we'll work on that for a System One poll. You guys, we know we do those every week, so we'll see what we can do about that one. Yeah. Moving on to the discussion topic of the week, the helpful advice that we offer in addition to Chandra says percussion. Awesome. She's joining from Houston area too. So I got several people from the Texas area in addition to that job that Caleb spotlighted. But we want to offer these pieces of advice. So today we're talking about really the best interview questions that job seekers can bring to the table to find out more about the organization, about the management style, about the team. So Charlie, can you really elaborate on maybe why this is important and give a couple examples for us?
Yeah, of course, Ruth. I think all questions are very important, but we can speak on the questions that are the most important to us. But like I said, they're so important. Whenever I prep my candidates before an initial interview, I always just encourage them to ask as many questions as possible. Really, I mean, you can break it down too. I advise to write, 5 questions down and really circle your top 2. Because in a job market like we're currently experiencing, you're going to want to make sure that you're picking a role that really aligns with what you're seeking. So my questions that I ask in an initial interview, my important ones are, how would you describe the work environment? Specifically speaking about the culture. Is the work typically more collaborative or more independent? It's kind of a 2-parter as well. And if you're speaking to a prospective manager, what's your management philosophy style? I really, the whole goal of these questions is to gauge if this is an organization I'd be happy working at. It's always kind of tough coming from the outside and looking in, especially if you have like a cushy job and you're looking for that next step. You're never going to get the full picture, but asking these types of questions will really help to provide as much insight as possible. So.
Thanks, Charlie. Those are 2 good questions to get the ball rolling through the first interview for job seekers as they're learning more about the culture and the management style. Tony, adding on to this, Charlie mentioned you want to take a good 5 questions in your initial interview. What's one question that you would recommend job seekers focus on as they go through this process?
Yeah, absolutely, Charlie. Those are great questions. One of my favorite questions is, what qualities best describe a successful member of your team? And this question can really accomplish 2 different things. One, you're going to get to hear directly from the hiring manager what kind of differentiates the successful and top performing employees at the company. And then it will also allow you to take, their response and relate it to your experience. And, you can provide some examples of where you might have shown those qualities in your current employment or in your past employment to show and reflect some of your abilities to the hiring manager. So it can kind of accomplish 2 different things.
That's a great example, Tony, and allows, of course, the candidate to elaborate more on their skills and while learning more about the position and the management style as well. Thanks for offering that suggestion. That's really helpful. I'm sure people are finding that great. Please, guys, continue to comment and let us know if you have questions as we're going through the questions we're offering you as examples. Let us know if you have additional things you would like to know about these questions that we're offering so that we can continue to help you. But Maggie, I know you have a great question for interviewers to offer during their interview process. Just curious what that is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I always encourage candidates to, of course, like you, Charlie, ask as many questions as you can. It's a great opportunity to interview that potential employer at the same time to make sure it is the right culture fit for you. One of the questions I encourage folks to ask, what are some of the challenges other employees have faced in this role? Very quickly, you're going to find out, and this is the perfect platform for that, for you to highlight your skill set and how you could be successful in that role. Potentially, go in, grab that low-lying fruit and contribute very quickly. Another question I love to ask too is it's more on the bolder side, but I've used this several times throughout my career in my own interviewing is, often when you partner with a recruiter or you're working with HR directly, at the potential employer, I don't like to be left in limbo. I like to know like what's going on. And it's a great opportunity as you're wrapping up that interview to ask the hiring manager, what does my competition look like? It sometimes has caught people off guard, but very quickly, if they have any, reservations or any follow-up questions for you specifically, as you're interviewing with them, you can nail it right there. You can clarify in the moment, provide specific examples, or help reconnect whatever is disconnected. So I love asking that question just because I'm going to know very quickly, like, oh, we just started in the process. We've got 2 candidates that are, strong front runners, but at least you'll know where you stand, because sometimes the communication on the back end can lag a little bit. And so you'll have, I think, a better feeling walking out of that interview, whether you crushed it or it's going to be a little bit longer or you're going to hear something immediately.
Thanks, Becky. Those are more good examples for job seekers to reflect on. Caleb, I know you've got another one to offer that can be very helpful for candidates as they're going through this process. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about your insight?
Yes, thank you everyone for sharing. I think we have some great suggestions, some great questions going so far. When you're going to an interview, not only are they interviewing your qualifications for the role, but as was mentioned earlier, you're interviewing this company as well, and you need to determine if this is going to be a great long-term fit for you. So what I like to recommend candidates ask is ask the hiring manager, once I'm integrated into this role, would there be an opportunity to expand my skills or take on additional responsibility? That's going to show the hiring manager that you're in it for the long haul. You're picturing yourself in this position and trying to figure out what it would take to win and get to the next level. And that's really encouraging for a lot of hiring managers. They're not you're not just looking at the role that's in front of you, but also how you can impact the organization as a whole and integrate this with your career goals. So be forward thinking and convey that in the interview, and you'll make a great impression on the hiring manager.
Thanks, Caleb. Another great example of good questions to ask for job seekers as they're going through this process. Again, we've been spotlighting questions for you to ask during that first initial interview, really that will separate yourself from the competition, like Maggie mentioned, as you are really looking to make a dynamic impact for the hiring manager. We've also offered these great opportunities for you to search and apply at jobs.system1.com. And like we say every week, we add new jobs every day. So check back regularly. Be sure to drop us a comment if you see something else that you're interested in so we can follow up with you. And be sure to connect with System 1 experts that we have on our panel every week. And join us every Thursday as we continue to offer insight for you as you're going through this journey. And we look forward to having you back next week as we continue with career advice, of course, hot jobs, and other industry trends. We'd love to interact with you and appreciate all the questions and comments we've gotten today, and look forward to having you again.